Well, welcome back to the program. Now, let's take a quick look at some information across the continental debt markets for you. Exotic Capital, London-based investment bank, in its mid-year strategy review report switches its buy recommendation on Nigeria's 2032 bond paper for a higher yielding Angola 2025 papers. That was in the current week. The mid-term or mid-year review of assets that's been tracked globally by Exotic Capital also had a buy recommendation on Cameroon's 2025 bond paper that's retaining a buy. Meantime, the organization says it's watching very closely the Egyptian treasury bills, which seems to be one of consensus for emerging market and frontier trades in 2017. Meantime, he says that the fundamentals are there to support Egyptian treasury bills trade because the IMF program, which is the extended credit facility, appears to be on track, but there are likely to be risks ahead. That's what Exotic Capital says in its report that was released during the week. Second loan tranche of $1.25 billion was released yesterday, Friday, July the 14th, to Egypt by the executive board of the International Monetary Fund sitting in Washington. Egypt is seeking about $12 billion in loans from the IMF. Meantime, one of Nigeria's Tier 1 lender, GT Bank, is retaining its buy recommendation. The acronym for that, what you call the international number for the GT Bank Bond 2018 is GRT-BNL. That's the, if you are in the market, of course, you understand what that code there stands for. That's the GT Bank bond maturity year 2018, has a buy recommendation. Meantime, three other Nigerian banks, Access Bank, Fidelity, and Diamond Bank, are among the Exotic Capital's global top 10 performing credits based on the ratings by three of the world's rating agencies, Moody's, Fitch, and S&P. Meantime, there's a red flag on Republic of Congo's REPCON 2029 bond due to S&P downgrade of the country to CCC from B- on July the 7th, as Republic of Congo froze the payment of about $20 million due on its bond on June 30 after a U.S. court issued a 30-day restraining notice. And let's come back up. It's going to be a blue ocean on Monday after the weekend when FMDQ OTC Securities Exchange admits the first infrastructure debt fund. It's called the NIDF, promoted by Chapel Hill Denham Management. During the week, we had a chat here a little bit with the managing director of the company, on Nonuju Iruku, and she told us what the infrastructure debt fund is all about and how they arrived at the projects that this $8 billion initial tranche listing on Monday was arrived at. Let's take a listen to Nonuju Iruku. How much is this bond? How much is this fund? How much your fund will be paying?
Well, what we've tried to do right now is to ensure that the loans that we access or the loans that we book from the fund will pay at least 400 basis points above an FGN bond. And so let's say an FGN bond today is going at about 15.75 or 16. It means the fund will pay at least 19.75 or 20%.
Ooh, that is some good money. What's the tenor you're looking at here? And the natural question is how would you be deploying?
Okay. All right. As it is, we've already deployed well over 80 or 90% of the fund because, like I said, the market is ready for this.
Really?
Yes, we already have. And so what's happened is the kind of projects, right, we're thinking of sponsoring are anything in utilities, roads, power, car parks, right? You know, anything really that will enhance the infrastructure of any city or any country. Those are the kind of projects we want to invest in. And right now we have a pipeline, you know, and so very soon we'll be coming back to the market to raise some more of the funds because we have people who are off-takers who are very willing to take this funds from us. Right?
I want you to include me in the pipeline.
Well, then I will ask you to please go and build a bridge. Maybe one from Ijebu-Ode to Lokoja.
No way. How did you get it? I'm just around Kogi State. So I'm going to just ask you to do that. I want to be the pipeline. But again, in terms of the pipeline of projects, of course, this is money. Nigeria is one huge ground that needs a lot of infrastructure activity taking place. So where Are you deploying first? Okay, that's why I want to be the part. And you know my natural person, don't you? Yes, you do.
Okay,
yes, you do. So where is that? It's Lagos, isn't it?
Well, the fund is a Nigeria fund. Okay, and so our projects will cut across everywhere. Of course, we had that question, you know, do you have geopolitical
leanings?
Well, it's a Nigeria fund, and we will go where there's a viable project. We will not do projects based on geopolitical zoning. Rather, we'll go on where it's viable, because we've taken funds from investors. We have investors who we report to, and the fund has a very, very strong governance structure, you know, which ensures that we're not just taking investors' funds and investing them in projects of our friends or our country or our tribal mates. You know, what we want to do here is ensure that they're viable projects. Right, we ensure the returns that we've promised our customers are there, and that this is a legacy fund that we're putting forth for Nigeria. We're sure that we won't be the only ones, right? What we've just done is gone ahead, and very soon there will be other asset classes that will come in. And so, if we don't do this right, then we close up the pipeline for others to come in and invest. So it's Nigeria. There's Lagos, there's Ogun State, there's Lokoja, there's Abuja, there's the Northeast. So long as it's a viable project, we will invest in it.
So you do believe that there are bankable infrastructure projects in Nigeria? It's always been part of the conversation that most of the infrastructure and projects are not bankable, so investors are not going to are not coming in, whether they are local or even foreign, because once they're looking in, they say, oh, it's not bankable, we're not going to touch it. How do you arrive at what's bankable?
Okay, what's bankable is what has a determined and assured cash flow. Okay, because really for every loan that you give, what determines its viability is the cash flow. I'm sure you drive on the Lekki-Ikoyi Bridge. All right. Now that's a good infrastructure, right? Not only has it opened up Lekki and Ikoyi, right? It's provided jobs, and it's added to the beauty of Lagos State, if nothing else. And so those are the kind of factors that we look out for. One, the cash flow is assured, and so we want to see projects in power. Right, because power is a huge need here in Nigeria. We want to see projects in power. We want to see projects, roads and bridges, etc. We want to see car parks, because within Lagos Island or anywhere, Victoria Island, parking is an issue. So those things that we believe, right, and we can see from the financial projections that have assured cash flows, are things that we'll be very willing to invest in.
Let's get back a little bit to the governance issue. I'm sure before you roll things out like this, the SEC must have looked through all your papers and asked a lot of questions about what are your management fees, what's the structures behind it, who are the trustees, if there's a need, and things like that. Walk us through that.
Okay, all right then. So this is a typical, like I said, it's a typical mutual fund, and so we've gone through the SEC approval. We're also approved by PENCOM because we wanted the pension fund administrators to invest in it. And so we've been through a very rigorous process. But beyond that, the structure of the fund is we have two trustees, Stanbic IBTC and STL trustees, right? We have reporting accountants, we have auditors. We worked with two of Nigeria's finest law firms, even in constructing all of the prospectus, the trustees, etc. But beyond that, the fund has an investment committee. Okay, the investment committee is made up of 5 members. One of them is independent, who is ex-IFC, and he led a lot of the infrastructure investments for IFC in Europe, in the Middle East. And then the CEO of the fund also is an ex-IFC staff who was instrumental to a lot of the infrastructure development and funding that was deployed in India and the Middle East. So
Ononuju Iruku, Managing Director at Chapel Hill Denham Management. She was speaking on Friday on our Business Morning show, and of course, Business Morning live from the FMDQ Infrastructure Debt Fund event on Monday. Do have a great weekend, everyone, and I'll see you next week with another edition of the Capital Market. Enjoy your weekend, and I'll see you at the other side. Bye for now.